from 80 countries, new applicants, new generation. Hello and welcome for our first session. I'm happy that I'm a leader of Global Mentorship Program this year, and I have very brilliant, amazing 21 volunteers. And for today's session, we will have 3 new speakers. Can you guys introduce yourself?
Yeah, shall I start?
Yes, go
Okay,
ahead.
good evening, good morning, everyone. This is Hanan Ahmad from Kurdistan region of Iraq. I am a dentist. I'm doing my master at Queen Mary University in Minimally Invasive Dentistry. First of all, congratulations. You made it to a significant milestone and you have been chosen among thousands and thousands of people globally. And that's it. We will go and run this session for you guys, and we are sharing our experience with you. And we hope, I believe we all hope you get benefit from it.
Maz, you can go.
Okay,
Next.
thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Maziya. I'm from the Maldives. I am currently doing an LLM in International Law and Security at the University of Glasgow. I'm so thrilled to be here to be able to share my experience with everyone. Hopefully, there's something really good that you can take away from this session and it's useful for you in your respective interviews. Over to you, Dipna.
Dipna, go ahead.
Yes, hi, Mai. Hi, everybody. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are connecting from the world. It's a great session. Thank you, Mai, for putting this together, because I wish when I was, doing my application, I would be aware of this kind of sessions, and I would be totally be thrilled to be participating in this kind of similar event, just to know more about this interview. So thank you for this initiative. And briefly about myself, so I'm a dual qualified lawyer, admitted as a barrister in Mauritius, my home country, and as an avocat à cour in Paris. I'm currently studying at Queen Mary University. I'm doing an LLM in international dispute resolution. So I think we should start our presentation without any further ado, because we have so many tips to share with you and we can't wait to start with them.
Yes. So let's move on, officially starting our first session and first session this week.
So
Hanan,
hi
go
everyone.
ahead.
Again, this is Hanan. I'm gonna share with you some my personal tips with the Chevening journey. Let me start with something. I remember last year at the same period, this time I was participating in the same mentorship with Maya, and we took a screenshot of our mission, or sorry, for the session at the end of the meeting. And there is no limit. Sky is the limit. Dream big, and fight for Chevening. So my first tip is, please be realistic and be yourself when you go to the interview room and meet with the panels, because they are very friendly, and they just don't want to assess you. They just want to know some points that like they already choose you, they already liked you. They just want to know some specific points that papers and words cannot elaborate during the applications. So be yourself, be realistic. Please try to memorize your essay. What I mean by memorizing essay is not like what we used to in back in the high school, memorizing a piece of paper and go and telling the teacher what we memorize it. What I mean is memorize every single details you mentioned in the essays. Why I'm telling you this? Because I believe, including myself, after application, after we get experience and more knowledge about Chevening, what they are looking for, we may find some points we mentioned in our essay that may leave question mark in the head of the panel. So the interview is for this. Like, they will ask you some points that is not clear for them enough to know you, and you will elaborate it. So your story is real, your experience is real. You were honest during writing your essay, so no worries. You will answer whatever question they're gonna ask you. Please try to memorize notes. When you're practicing now during the mock interview, there is some certain notes you have to memorize it. There is some statistic, there is some names, some numbers. You have to memorize those numbers and tell the panels when they ask you question, this number, this statistic, this name will give a very good and positive impression about you when you tell them, so they know that you are the person that they are looking for. Practice, practice, and practice. I will repeat this. Practice is the key for acing the Chevening interview. And please time yourself. I remember when I did my practice at home, I brought a mirror and my timer, and I was talking with myself for 2 minutes. Whenever I passed 3 minutes, I I listened to the record again. I removed some points, I add some point, and I practiced again until I reached that 2 minutes. Because I don't want you guys to lose time during the interview by saying and mentioning some points that is not important, or there is some other points that you have to mention and you skipped. So this is the importance of practicing and timing yourself. You have to expect all relevant question. You have to expect that they may ask you some question you are not prepared for. So what you have to do in that moment, if they ask you the question and you are not prepared for, the answer is like that. Don't panic. Don't stare like them like don't stare at them like doing this and just saying nothing. Mention anything, just don't stop from speaking and talking. Mention anything, just don't stare at them. Also, appearance is matter, like wear a nice suit, put a nice makeup. When you go to the interview room, try to smile, try to say hi, how are you. Like you have to speak with them, that they are not there for judging you or something like that. No, they want applicant or candidates that they are having this ability to speak, to show them themselves. So be confident, be concise and precise while you are answering the question. Be clear uh, and know what you are talking about. Eye contact and body language is very important. Like just don't do like this, or trying to play with your nails while you're answering the question. No, you can use like what I'm doing now. Now maybe I'm a little bit stressed, like I feel like it's a Chevening interview, but what I'm trying to do now, I'm using my hands a lot. I'm trying to look at my at Dipna, at my slide. I'm trying to break this ice and this fear. So use your hands, try to smile. But the person that asking you the question, actually after asking, she will take her pen and paper and try to write down notes based on your answer. So she basically will do that. This happened with me. She is not looking, she is not even looking at me, she's writing down notes. So shall I just look at her or that the other two person, because they may be 3 or 4? No, you have to look at the other ones, at the guy who's sitting adjacent to her, then look back at her, to the other one. So keep playing this eye contact with the panels. Maya, we can move to the other slide, please. Uh, yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to move it here so I can see it on my screen. Okay, so we will go to the most important, like what I mentioned is already important, but this is what most candidates have a concern about, which is the example, leadership, networking, and the other two essays. So regarding the essay, you have to, like, you will be 100% asked by the panels question about leadership, networking, why you want to study in the UK, and what's your career plan. So the purpose for asking this question is they already know you. As I mentioned earlier, they already like you, but they want to see how you elaborating this, and is the story is real or not. So I believe since you reach this milestone and this level, you already a leader or potential leader. So whenever they ask you any follow-up question about the essays and the examples, you will definitely have an answer for it. So the key is how you will explain for them, or how you will elaborate those points. For the leadership, they will ask you either a direct question, what is your leadership potential, or give us a circumstance that you used your leadership skills, or maybe just like me, when I went to the interview room, they didn't ask me introduce yourself, so I was shocked. Why? I was prepared myself for introduce section. I wrote a paragraph. I memorized some bullet points, but they didn't ask me that. They told me how you will convince people. So it was basically not as simple as what I'm telling you, but like the context or the content was that what I did, I didn't understand really. So I started to be like a little bit nervous. But what I did is I told her, can you please repeat your question? So while she's repeating her question, within this very limited amount of time, like within seconds, I tried to recognize what she is looking for. I realized that she needs from me to explain for her my leadership skills. So I told her the definition of the leadership that I wrote in my essay, plus an example. What I did during Chevening interview is I mentioned a new example, and I know many candidates have this question: can I change example or mention something that is not mentioned in the essay? Yes, you can change example, but the key here is the new example has a greater impact and show your leadership potential more than the one that you already mentioned or not? If yes, mention the new example, bring numbers and impacts. If not, just stick with what you mentioned, because already they choose you because of what you mentioned. So no worries. I mentioned new example, but I gave them definition. Then I said, as you are familiar with my essay, I mentioned the first example very, very quickly. I think it's only 40 seconds. Then I said, what you didn't know is after I applied for Chevening scholarship, I found my own dental outreach program. I did blah, 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 blah. At the end, I gave them a number. I said like 1,500 refugees kids got benefited from my project. This is the point. Networking is still the same. You can define and give the same example or new example. But please, if you didn't mention number, statistic, and impact in your essay, try to remember the situation that you played a good networker or a good leadership skill, and give them the number. Even if it's 5% got benefit from you, does that those 5% contacted you later on to show you, like told you thank you, we got benefit from you and we did blah blah blah, you can connect all together to show them the impact. Then we will come to why study in the UK. In this section, you really have to be very specific. They don't need any general answer from you, because we all know that UK have a very strong infrastructure, like literally in everything. So why you want to study in the UK? So you have to be specific. Look for specific things. What is your plan like doing in the UK apart from study? Because they are not looking for students that are just trying to getting high marks and studying every 24 hours. No, they want you to engage with other community, with the stakeholder from other countries, because it's a very diverse community. You in the Chevening community and the UK community as well. Chosen courses. Why you choose these courses? It's really easy and not easy at the same time. Your aim or the reason you choose this university, I believe you know the reason, but try to mention the name of this course, have the name of the modules, the partnership, if the university have partnership with any other parties, their activities and the events. I know some university providing a chance for the student to travel to another country for a training. So this is gonna be a good point for you to mention as a cause you choose this university. It is ranking related to your field. Like, don't look for high rank university globally. Look for the university that is pioneer in your field. And you can mention this. You can mention the name of a tutor or a teacher or a professor that they are author of a book, and you also tutor at this course, and they will teach you. This is gonna be a good point and credit for you. Regarding changing the courses, you can change, and we will explain later on at the end of the session if you have question. If not, I will repeat in this section, add more notes about it. Then the last thing is the career plan. Your plan and goal is Chevening goal and the plan. So try please to be realistic, set realistic goal and the plan. Like, it should not be a dream. You can, like, whenever you come back to your own country, you can achieve this career plan and goal. You have to see UK priority in your country, what UK doing in your field in the UK, and what UK doing in your field in your country, and how you will contribute to this, to bringing a stronger infrastructure of your major in your country. This is what I thought about to, like, I have to mention. I believe there's many other points I may forget and my colleagues may explain for you. This is my account, as you see here. Whenever you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. I have some deadlines, so apologize for the late responses, but I'm trying my best to answer all of your questions, and I am here always for you. So good luck from me and little Charlie in your interview, and I will give the the mic for Maziya and Dipna. Thank you so much.
So our next speaker is Maziya. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Hanan. I think that was very informative. Since we have a lot of people, a lot of new people who's joined us since we had our first round of introductions, let me just go ahead and introduce myself. Once again, my name is Maziya. I'm from the Maldives. I am a lawyer by training, and now I am with the University of Glasgow. I'm doing an LLM in international law and security. Let me just first kind of reflect back onto my own interview, and then maybe I can just go ahead with the steps that I have mentioned in the slide. I'm not sure how many people would get nominated or shortlisted from your respective countries, but in the Maldives, the pool is competitive, but I wouldn't dare compare it to other bigger countries with bigger populations. We had the opportunity to choose an interview slot, and for me, I went ahead with a slot that was right in the middle, not at the very early on in the entire session or not at the very last. I believe it was a little bit of a strategic thing on my end as well, because I didn't want the interviewers to be very tired of people saying the same thing over and over again. I also didn't want the interviewers to be too fresh to be able to, you know, really rattle me with their very difficult questions. So I'm not sure if you have the opportunity, but if you do, please give a thought as to when the particular slot that you're choosing for your interview. The other thing was, I think more so than anything, what I focused on was to just have an engaging conversation with them. Like Hanan also mentioned, it's not like, it is an important part of your life. It's an important phase in the Chevening journey and get into the actual goal. But still, just imagine yourself to be in a networking event. You're trying to stay as authentic as possible. You're trying to be as genuine as possible. It's important to talk yourself up, but it's also important that you don't come across as artificial or braggy even. So these are just little things that kind of like makes you stand out in the bigger crowd, because it's a competition at the end of the day, and we all want to be a part of the Chevening team, right? Okay, so the first step which I would suggest everyone kind of like just think about, is decide on an approach for your interview. I understand a lot of you might have already done some research about this, but it might be worth to actually go on Google and see how many types of interview approaches are there. Personally, I took on the STAR approach, which is the situation, task, and the approach and the result. So the idea is for you to kind of keep in mind the specific things, like Hanan mentioned, that would demonstrate your leadership skills. And for you to be able to kind of put it all together, put the situation and what you did and what your thoughts were in that particular situation and how you approached it and the ultimate result, trying to keep it like in a systematic form kind of helps you to keep it on your mind, so that it helps you be organized, basically, so that your information is not everywhere. And this helps, again, when you're trying to tell the Chevening interview panel that there are these specific things that you have done in your professional career that you feel makes you the right candidate for Chevening or makes you a leader in your community.
Maz, are you here? Because we lost you, your voice. Okay, we have technical issues, I think, because I can't. Okay, she back. We have a lot of benefit from Zoom and Teams, but sometimes it's very challenging. It's all right.
Am I back online?
You back. Oh, go ahead.
I'm so sorry about
It's
that.
all right.
Okay, where was I? Okay, just to give you an example of how I used STAR in my interview. So I wasn't exactly asked the specific question to prove or demonstrate a specific thing that I undertook in my professional career to demonstrate my leadership, but I kind of like included it in my introduction. Again, that's like one of the opportunities that you get to highlight the best qualities, the best traits about you. So in my field, because I'm a lawyer and I specialize in human rights policy, and that's the work that I've been doing for a really long time, I told them that I was tasked with coming up with a report on the human rights condition in the Maldives, and it was a very tight deadline. So my task was to come up with a report, to compile all of the information we had about this particular situation back in the Maldives. And my approach to that was to delegate work to other colleagues who were in my team and have a plan so as to they can feed in the work that they have been doing. And the result of that was that I was able to deliver the report on the required deadline. So something simple like that, something that you might want to think about, that's something that you might have done in your careers. My second step would be read and research. This is, again, just feeding into what Hanan has been saying. Very important that you go back to your essays and read what you have written. It's important for us to know, I mean, it's very easy for us to feel like, okay, this doesn't necessarily require a lot of preparation because we're the people who wrote the essays when we submitted it. But no, this is something that needs preparation. You need to go back to your essays, you need to read your essays, and you need to really try to condense that information and identify what are the things that you're going to highlight in the interview to the interview panel. If you have a CV, you need to go back to that CV as well. I would highly recommend it. If you don't have a CV, that's still fine. Just think about or drop a resume, a very rough one. This will help you kind of identify the work that you have been doing from the very beginning of your career and until today. The idea, it's actually two objectives to that. Number one would be it'll give you a confidence boost you feel like, okay, these are all of the work that I've done in my career, that I really truly deserve this, and it might really be helpful to help you come across as confident in your craft, as someone who's very comfortable in where they are in their professional careers. So the third thing that I would suggest that you research, like Hannah also mentioned, is the priorities of the UK government in your country. So I understand that the UK government would have different interests, different areas of speciality that they'll be collaborating with your respective governments or with your respective countries. So take a moment to actually sit down and do that research, especially in your field, know what the interests are, know what the UK government's objectives are. So if and when the question arises, that they know that you've done your research, they know that you've done your homework, and you're able to give them a good answer. Also, it might be important for you to kind of connect it back to where you want to be in your professional career later on. For example, in my case, I have done a lot of work with in the area of terrorism and national security. And it also coincidentally happens to be a UK government's interest back at home. So I was able to come up with examples, and I was able to make that connection to show them that how Chevening, or how for me to be able to enroll in this LLM program, is going to improve my skill, is going to make me more useful or beneficial for my field. Step number 3 is actually, I know it's kind of like termed fancy introspection, but this is, I would like to say, the most important part of your whole preparation. This is basically you sitting down and taking a moment for yourself, thinking about how you have been inspired to apply for the Chevening, how you are, like, your inspirations, where you want to be down the line, I don't know, 5 years in your career path, your ultimate goal, what it is that you want to do. The reason why you need to sit down and take time out for yourself is, again, for you to be able to make it as authentic as possible, to appear as genuine as possible, so that you're not just, so that they know that you're not just, taking things off from the internet and putting it together and then making it your own, rather than just digging deep into yourself and trying to figure out what your values are, what your principles are, and what has really driven you to make this application to Chevening. Remember always that Chevening is also a brand. So Chevening is also trying to figure out, or trying to find people who has that persona, basically, who can carry the Chevening banner, who can carry the Chevening brand within their field, as well as internationally or globally. So for you to be able to do that, you need to understand yourself. You need to understand why you chose your specific career path, why you chose a specific job, for example, or how you have volunteered or helped other people, and also what you would bring to the table as an individual, to help your field, again, to help your people, obviously, but also just generally as a human being. I feel like these are very, very important things that a lot of the times, because we're talking about academic competitions, that we forget that as an individual, you need to be well-rounded, you need to be holistic for you to be able to go through. And my 4th step would be just write everything down. Because you're doing all of these preparations, because you're doing all of this research, it's not possible, obviously, I understand, for anyone to be able to write whole paragraphs, and it's not advisable for you to write whole paragraphs. And well, I personally wouldn't recommend it. Just write down, jot down bullet points. These are important things from your essays. These are important things from your CV. These are important things from the research that you have done on the UK government in your countries, and also, again, on your values and principles. So when I went in for my interview, I had like a 4-page document, which I had just sat down and just wrote down all of the stuff that came to my mind. it helps you to formulate an answer, and it helps you not to panic, because now you know that you are armed with all of this information. So if they ask you a question that you have not necessarily anticipated, or that you have not necessarily expected, you still know that you have all of this information that you can jumble together and come up with a good answer. So that's why you need to write it down. And step 5, like Hanan has also mentioned, we overlook so many times, like a lot of the times in interviews, we kind of like get into the nitty-gritty part of it, but we forget that the visual senses are the first that gets activated for an interview panel. So make sure that you have a good outfit ready. Make sure that you're looking pleasant. Make sure that you're not in a hurry, that you're not too rattled or too nervous. But being nervous is also okay, because that means that it matters for you, that the stakes are high, and it makes your body kind of be alert. So it's good, but try not to appear like you're scared or you're afraid, because in a networking event where you're trying to sell yourself, where you're trying to introduce yourself to new people, you wouldn't necessarily be scared. You'll be trying to be pleasant and warm and smiley. So yeah, and double check the time, double check the location, make sure you have your transport ready. And yeah, just smile, just take a deep breath. In my interview, actually, I cracked a few jokes because that's my coping mechanism, but it's fine. Just a smile, have a good time. And I think rather than just being very serious and very stringent all the time, it helps that you can lighten up the mood. It helps that you can connect with the judging panel, even though if it's through a little joke or a little small talk. So yeah, that's just it. Just for me, I think my ending note would be smile a lot, be warm, be pleasant, just have a conversation. It's absolutely nothing to be scared of. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you so much, girls. Sometimes I envy for new applicants because I wanted to back in the same stage because you share very brilliant and amazing tips for them. So Dipna, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mai. Thank you, Hanan and Maz, for this brilliant presentation. So I will try my best to avoid repeating what you girls said, because you gave a clear and very brilliant presentation. So what I did on my slide, I literally split the different, I would say, like steps or days that will pass by during your interview. So I split it in several categories. So you'll have the process before, the process the day before your interview, what you have to do on the day itself, during your interview, and what should be done after. So to start first, I would like to congratulate you, first of all, to all the applicants that made it so far. It's really something you need to be proud of, because there are so many applicants all over the world, and you achieved the most important step, which is the interview process. So I will try to share some key tips with you so that you can prepare to help. Well, I can at least try to help you prepare for your interview. So for the first part, before the interview takes place, make sure that you follow Chevening Awards website and social media channels. This is absolutely essential, because you will have so many pieces of relevant information through this channel. So it's something you should do if you haven't done so already. Make sure that you have all the documents and information already uploaded on the Chevening portal. So prior to your interview, you know that you have to upload some documents, like your education documents, your transcripts, your reference letters, your short biography. So make sure that everything is in order. Before your interview, do check all the videos and tips from Chevening scholars, both previous one and current ones. This is what I did. I went on YouTube, checked all the videos, and this really helps you guys. So really, that's one of the best tips that I could share with you, is that check the videos on YouTube. It's very helpful. Something else that I did to prepare my interview is that I reached out to scholars, former scholars, current scholars. They are your best access to what you need to know, because they will help you to share with you what questions are going to be asked. And if I could share the best piece of advice here when you're reaching out to scholars, try to reach out to scholars that come from the same country as you, because they would actually know who the potential interviewers are going to be, what questions come regularly, because from one country to another, questions might vary, even though they are more or less the same. But, it's always easier for you to prepare when you get to know more or less the same questions that would come during every round of interviews. Something which is important as well is prepare your questions and know your application. I won't say don't memorize every word that you wrote, but do make sure that you don't contradict yourself when you write something in your essay and then you speak something which is totally different during your interview. So just make sure that everything is consistent and coherent. So by doing this, you need to know what you wrote in your essay. So to prepare the questions, you will have the same questions that will come. So you have the main categories. I'll start with the first one, which is, what does leadership mean to you? You are sure that you will receive a question like this. So it will be rephrased in some other ways, but they want to know about your leadership skills. So, the Chevening Awards are given to very talented individuals with the potential to become future leaders, influencers, and decision makers. So they would usually look for people that share similar qualities like empathy, perseverance, resilience, and a determination to succeed. So you have to show this during your interviews. So during the question that will be asked regarding your leadership skills, you will be asked to give at least one detailed example of your own experience of leadership. So please do share your own experience. And if you can, link it to the UK government, that's even more powerful to your answer. For me, one of the examples that I used in this question was the fact that I was working in an international arbitration center. I had a very senior position, being a very young arbitration practitioner myself, and I was working in an international center that was, established in a joint venture with the leading British arbitration center called the LTIA, which is based in London. And through this, we actually, try to develop arbitration in my country and in the region. We organized international events, and the keynote speaker to one of the events I was part of was the former Secretary General of the United Nations. So do take these key examples, things that you participated in and great achievements that you contributed to. So that makes the difference. Another question that will be asked to you, that may be asked to you, is, can you influence the opinion of others? This is important. Chevening believes that great leaders demonstrate empathy. It's particularly important when you're trying to bring others round to your way of thinking. And so they will ask you to give them at least one detailed example of a time you've influenced others to achieve something. So explain the steps you took and provide details of the results. Another question that they love asking about is about networking. They will ask you, are you good at maintaining professional relationships? They will always say that building professional relationships is crucial for becoming a successful leader. And on top of that, maintaining those relationships, it is even more important. So in your interview, your panel might ask you to share your ideas for calling on your networks to help you achieve your career goals. And so if you become a Chevening scholar, which I hope you all do soon, you'll be joining a diverse and supportive global Chevening community. So don't forget to consider how to use that to your advantage. And so the best answers will also share at least one detailed example of how you use your networking skills to achieve a positive outcome. And they might ask you about your university and the courses, the universities, well, your three chosen universities and the courses that you've chosen. And Chevening wants to see your determination to achieve your goals. So one way to show it is to tell your panel about the detailed research you've carried out into your course. And you may talk about the modules you're particularly excited about. That shows that you've been doing some research. Share why you've chosen that course over another one, detail your chosen course links to your experience so far. Another question that they will ask you, it's what impact do you want to have in your home country? So the panel wants to know that your experience as a Chevening scholar will have a positive impact in your home country or in your chosen field. So you need to talk about your future plans. What do you want to achieve, basically? So Chevening likes people who dream big. Do dream big, but be realistic about your career goals. So as my colleagues said, Maz and Hanan, you need to provide details on your short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals by using the SMART method: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. This is your best way to reply to any answers that are going to be asked to you. I will now share one of the questions that I've been asked during my interview. And actually, to answer this question, I reached out to somebody who used to work at the High Commission of the UK High Commission of my country. I know that this person left and was working somewhere else. So I reached out to this person because I knew that now she's not working for the UK High Commission anymore. She would be able to help me and to give me some key tips. And that really helped me. And the question that person said that every time in your country, this is the question we're going to ask. I obviously had this question. So my question was, what does effective networking mean to you? It's a very broad and abstract question. So try to start by giving the definition, and then you give as many examples as possible. And then you focus the answer on you. So you need to, in your answer, you need to make sure that you explain what was the outcome. How did you personally use your network to achieve this outcome? Then the panel will definitely want to know, without using your network, would the outcome have been possible or different? That's the essence. In essence, that's what this question is about, what effective networking means. And it's something that was achieved only because you were able to use your network. Without it, this outcome would not have been possible. So always focus all the questions on you and your experience. Okay, now we'll move on to the next category, what you should be doing the day before your interview. Get all your documents ready. Make sure that you have your passport or your national ID. And some countries might ask for additional documents prior to your interview, so make sure you have everything. Get yourself ready, guys. We can't stress enough on that. Choose your clothes on the eve of your interview. That will save you a very important amount of time. Please dress up the part. You're going for an interview. You are a professional. Just it needs to show. And please, by all means, try to avoid carrying expensive or flashy items with you. You are applying for a scholarship. There's no need to bring your expensive luxury handbag, showing that you can spend 1 year like scholarship on a bag or on a watch. So just dress up modestly and make sure that you are fully prepared, that all your clothes are ready. Put some nice makeup on. Just avoid wearing for the first time, like for the girls especially, I don't know, flashy pink lipstick, because you need to have confidence and you need to be comfortable. Plan your trip in advance. Just make sure that you check the map and if there are various entrances to the embassy or the High Commission, so that you don't get lost. And if you can have somebody that will drive you to your interview, or that can help you, or if you take public transportation, just make sure that you don't reach to your interview late. So plan in advance. Prepare all your essential items. Bring a notepad and a pen. Even if they are going to give one to you, you'll receive a very nice Chevening pen on your interview day. And they'll give you a notepad. Just make sure that you have everything ready. Bring a copy of your CV. I brought it with me. I brought a copy of my application, actually, to be honest, just to be sure that I had everything with me. And so sometimes you can have a blank, and you can discreetly, if you have your sheets with you, you can just, very discreetly just have a little glimpse of what you wrote in your CV or in your essay, and it will really help you. So that's one good tip I can share with you. Bring some tissues. Bring a lip balm, especially if your lips are dry. This is a very helpful tip because, everybody's stressed, so you might get thirsty, so bring a bottle of water as well, even if they're going to give you water, but you might want to drink a sip of water before getting into the interview room. Okay, now on D-Day, please make sure to arrive at least 15 minutes before, because they will check your IDs, so please don't forget your ID. Don't add more stress to the stressful situation you're already going through. So make sure you have your passport or your national ID, and any other document that they might ask you to bring along with you. Don't panic, don't stress. Well, at least not too much. It's going to be a very stressful day. You are literally about to change your career, your life. So there's a lot of stress here. So try to at least reduce it. Try to make sure that you avoid any additional stress, like reaching late to the interview, having too many deadlines on the same day. I remember during my interview day, I had a very important deadline for work. So I was literally on the phone working on my way to my interview. So it added even more stress. So if I can give you a very good piece of advice, just try to reduce your stress. And even if you have to, manage several things all together, it's fine. We get it. We are professionals. We're working. We have a family. We have several things. And that's one of your leadership skills, being multitask and being good at it. And just try to reduce as much as you can your stress on that day. Something important that I didn't know about, but I knew when I reached out to the person working at the UK High Commission, is that the panel will use specific criteria to assess your interview and your answers, and they will use a ranking system. So you will be ranked, guys. So make sure that you just increase all your chances and that you don't lose this tiny little point that will make you become number 51 instead of being number 50, and they're going to choose the top 50, you see? So just bear this in mind, that they use a ranking system. Okay, now during the interview, as my colleagues said, authenticity is key. They want to know about you. There's no right answer to Chevening questions. They just want a true answer, one that is unique to you. And you need to show a mix of authenticity, confidence, genuine enthusiasm, and a passion. These aspects make a candidate stand out. I don't know whether you read or you watch the show of Marie Kondo on Netflix. Does it spark joy when you get to an item? It's the same for you on that day. Do you spark joy? So this is what they will try to assess when they are interviewing you. Make it clear how Chevening will help you achieve big things. One of the goals of the Chevening Scholarship is to help students supercharge their existing ambitions and find success more rapidly on a larger scale than would be possibly on their own. So it's important to make it clear to your interviewers how the Chevening Scholarship specifically can help you to achieve this. So you need to reference, for example, the academic course this scholarship will help make available to you, how the Chevening network will help you, how government connections that scholarship will be able to give you in your own home country. So, Chevening is opening up the world for you. So think and explain how the scholarship will help you realize your dreams. Set achievable goals. As we said, everything needs to be realistic. And no matter how big your dreams are, they still need to be realistic, even if they're very ambitious and challenging. And while thinking about attaining bigger goals, know that you will need to start small. And you will not be penalized actually for not attaining your aspirations, as long as your goals are realistic and you're giving yourself all the means to achieve these goals. Another very important aspect, you should not hold back. There's no time for modesty in a Chevening interview. The panel wants to hear about your biggest successes. So don't hold back on telling us, or telling the interviewers or the panel your best stories. Choosing your best example and explaining it well will definitely score you high marks. So read up what Chevening Secretariat is looking for from scholars and prepare a few strong examples on how you have demonstrated these qualities. Having at least one strong anecdote that you have practiced and know how to communicate concisely. It's very important. Use the STAR approach, as my colleague said. It's very helpful, especially to answer. So, as I said, they will look out for high quality answers in an appropriately short amount of time. So just make sure that you use this approach to focus specifically on what you did, rather than my team and I just focus everything on you. I did that. This outcome was achieved because I did that. I contributed highly in that. It was because of me that. It's you. It's all about you. So you don't need to worry what your interviewers are thinking about you, even if you feel that you're bragging or boasting around. It's just remember that we want you to succeed and do yourself justice. Be yourself and good luck. So what should you do after this? This is like something that I always give as a piece of advice at to my students at university, and this is something I apply to myself on a daily basis is that whenever I have something important, like an interview, an important deadline, or an important task, I always plan something after, not right after, because you need some time, to process what just happened to you, but you need some time to, digest what happened, but you have to move on. So make sure you always plan something nice after something important, so that you can move on easily and let your mind focus on something else, because you will relive again and again the scene and all the answers you gave during your interviews, and you will say, oh, why didn't I say that? Oh, I completely missed my interview, I'm not going to be selected, this is the end of the world. So just let your mind move on something else and just try to plan something nice. But just make sure that this is something you're planning which can be easily cancelled. Like, for instance, you can plan something with your friends to go to the movies, to a restaurant, to go to a swimming session, or to play tennis. Or you can plan something which is not very expensive, or that you can change without a charge, or you can easily ask somebody to replace you in, like going to the opera or a ballet, or see a play in a theater. After your interview, make sure that you finalize your university applications and your IELTS exam date, for instance, if it's required, and start to prepare for your next big trip. This is something I wanted to know, before going to my interview, so that I could start planning right after going through this interview process, is to start looking for accommodation, for instance, because it depends where you're going to study, the university that you've chosen. Sometimes universities will help you by providing you with accommodation on campus. Sometimes they will not. So just try to prepare for what's happening next, and just be in a great state of mind, and just let yourself stop thinking about what happened during the interview, and it's going to be great, and I'm sure that you're going to make it to the final stages. So that's it for me. Mai, thank you so much, and I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think new applicants are excited to listening you, because it was very interesting, amazing. And I just realized that all of us, we are talking in a different way. So guys, keep in your mind the tips we repeated. It's very, very important and common. So you will experience definitely this kind of tips. So otherwise, the girls and in other session also, we just share for you our experience. And remember, you don't need to copy that. It's just you have to find your own way to present it yourself. Let's move on. Your favorite part, question time.
Yeah.
And I will try to manage to see who has rising hand. Because I shared the slides, I can't see that. So yeah, just a moment. Yes, I think yes, I manage. So first person in my list is Mokhtari Asma. Please go ahead and directly ask the question, speakers. Thank you so much.
Hello, ladies. Thank you so much for this rewarding session. I have two questions. How much time do we have to answer each question approximately? And my second question is regarding leadership and networking. If we are asked to share our experience, how many examples should we provide? Thank you very much.
So
Okay.
girls, you can answer, or maybe
Yeah.
Asma, you can choose who you want to answer you back.
Yeah.
Anyone. They're all perfect.
Thank you so much. Regarding your first question related to the time that you want to answer the panels, the question they address for you. Usually I mentioned I addressed, like, I trained myself to answer the question probably within 2 minutes, maximum 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes, not more, because like they have to still concentrate with the example. To, for example, for the leadership question, you're gonna use the STAR approach. So if you use this approach, 2 to 3 minutes maximum is enough to address all important points related to the example. you want to, or whatever the question is related to. It actually depend on the question, but leadership and networking or your career plan, those are the questions that take longer to answer. So 2 to 3 minutes with training is enough to addressing the bullet points and the important points. And more specifically, I will always consist on is bringing the number of impact statistic and number at the end of the example. Regarding leadership and networking, me myself, the networking, I gave them the definition and only one example, but I tried to elaborate it more, like using that approach. The first question was about leadership. I changed my example. I mentioned new example, but what I did is I mentioned the definition of leadership. I said, as you are familiar with my essay, in, for example, 2019, I did blah blah very shortly. Then I explained the new example because I believe until now, and I am 100% sure, the new example was much more better than the one that I mentioned because I did it after the Chevening interview, sorry, Chevening application. Chevening motivates me to do this. So 2 to 3 minutes is enough. One example is enough if you can elaborate more, like bringing the all points that Chevening is looking for in one example. One example should be enough.
Thank you, Hanan, for your answer. Is that
No
both
worries.
question covered?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Don Divin, go ahead. And guys, so sorry if I pronounce your name incorrectly.
No, sorry, my hand was raised mistakenly. I don't have any question. Sorry.
Sorry, I have not heard because your voice was.
Yeah,
I think he raised his hand by mistake.
Yeah.
Okay. No worries. Kajiru, please go ahead.
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, ladies, thanks for the session. This is absolutely amazing. I have one question concerning the question regarding why Chevening, why UK. This is the question which have many answers. I want to know what is the best approach to go with the bullets, mention many as answers as possible, or just to have 2 points then elaborate. What is the best approach for the question like this? Why UK, why Chevening?
Okay, Maz, can you answer for this question, please?
I'm so sorry. I couldn't catch the last part. What was that?
I was asking concerning the question like why UK, why Chevening? These are the question with possible many answers as possible. I want to know what is the best approach to go with the bullets, mention them, or to just pick 2 points and you elaborate in.
Right. Well, I can't actually recall being asked a specific question, but I got a variety of that question. I was asked what I was most looking forward to do in the UK. So I think this connects very well with what we have been talking about. What inspires you to apply to Chevening? And again, keep in mind that this is going to be a global program, and you're going to be meeting people from all over the world, hopefully in your program as well, in your classes. So use that to your advantage. And it's not just about being in the UK as such. It's obviously going to be different in terms of what you're going to be experiencing, the climate and the traditions here, and the atmosphere here. Everything is going to be different, but even more so than that, think about how meeting different people would benefit your career, how it would benefit your personality. So I think this is also one of those, like, this is one that kind of a question that you need to actually think for yourself and realize that these are the reasons why I feel like I should be studying in the UK, or I feel like I want to choose the UK over, for example, any other country. In my case, I remember I framed the answer in a way that that I could talk about the diversity and the different types of people that I'm going to meet, because I'm and that's sort of a person. I look for engagement. I told them that I'm looking forward to the experience to meet a lot of people who are in the same field but would have had different experiences in their career paths. So something along those lines, something that's again realistic and something that holds water, I think, in your specific case. I hope that answers your question.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Maz. Otis, go ahead, please. Directly question.
Hello.
Yeah, unmute yourself, please. Yes, and remember, if your
Thanks
your
so much.
interview is online, please firstly unmute yourself.
Okay, am I okay now?
Yes, it's okay. Go ahead.
All right. Thanks so much, and thanks to the presenters. I think this is good for us. I have like 3 questions to the last speaker, Dipna, if I pronounce your name properly. And so you make emphasis about criteria being used, and I want to say thanks so much for sharing the tips with us about system being used to rank interviewees. Can you just, if you have more insight, what are the makeup of these criteria that one, and what the mark given to each of them? And there's another one we talk about tip. You use a tip to buy some time. So during the interview time, what are some of the tips you actually used? Because I didn't get that part. Yeah. So for now, I think that's it. And thanks so much.
Thank you for your question. So your first question was about the criteria that are being used by the Chevening panels during your interviews. I wish I had the detailed list of this criteria, because unfortunately we don't have access to our ranks or all the criteria that are being used, and they will vary from one high commission to another. But what I can tell you that the main criteria that they will use is like, how do you answer to your question by using the STAR method? Is it focusing on you enough? Is your example concise and specific enough? And they will check whether you are fluent in answering your question, how you master the language. This is another important aspect, guys, because you're going to study 1 year in the UK. They will check whether you are comfortable speaking in English, whether what you say makes sense. And they will also check whether what you say is coherent and compliant with what you wrote in your essay, and that you're not contradicting yourself. And so these are the criteria they're going to use. And basically, they're going to check how impactful your answer is. And another good tip that I would like to share with you is that there's one question that I was asked when I was, studying some years ago, and I got selected for. It was a double master degree between 2 prestigious universities, and I remember one of the most difficult question that I was asked during this interview was, why should we choose you instead of choosing someone else? So whenever you are replying to questions that are being asked to you, always keep that in mind. Why should we choose you? So just make sure that you are impactful when you are answering. Why should we choose you? Because you're simply the best. And when you answer to your question, you need to reflect in your answer. And regarding your second question, which was about tips during the interview, I wanted to spend more time on this. I'm sorry, I ran out of time, so this is why I had to end a bit earlier than expected, because Hanan covered some of them. So she said about rephrasing the questions. This is a good tip to buy some time. If you need like 2 or 3 seconds to process what is being asked to you, or if you don't understand, don't hesitate to ask, please, could you repeat your question, or can you please rephrase it? I use it 2 times, this kind of questions. First, when I don't clearly understand what is being asked to me, or when I need to buy some time. So that gives you 10 additional seconds to let your mind and your brains process what is being asked and to structure your answer. So try to buy some time with that. Another trick that you can use, and I learned it at the bar school, is that you can say, may I please have a sip of water before. When you're lifting your glass of water, try to do it as slowly as possible, because that gives you 10 more seconds to just analyze and process your answer and to structure it. So you drink your water, you have some time to think at the same time, and then you answer. So that's a very good trick.
Maya just did it. Try to spend some time while opening the bottle, so you buy
Don't spill it everywhere, though. They notice you're clumsy.
Just to jump in on that, Dipna, excellent tips, but something that I have personally noticed helps a lot in kind of like, getting your mind going, not making sure that you're not freezing on spot, is to talk to yourself while you're preparing for the interview. Just constantly talk to yourself. I think it kind of helps with the fluency as well as structuring the answer. So you know that, this is one way you can go about it, there's another way you can go about it. I don't know, this is something that helps, and that's something I've kind of kept with me for a while now. So thought I'll just put it out there.
No, that's excellent.
They can record themselves by even video, or just try to record notes to yourself on WhatsApp or Telegram, and you can hear that voice that you recorded and try to write down the notes. And sometimes like subconsciously you say something that's really important, and out of a sudden the word come out from your mouth. So this is really important to record yourself.
Absolutely. Or try to rehearse your answers with a friend or in front of your mirror if you don't have anybody to listen to all the beautiful things you have to say. But yeah, try to buy some time, very discreetly. Don't make it too obvious, because they know that you are just trying to buy some time because you don't know how to answer, that you didn't come fully prepared. Don't lie, guys, especially if you're not good at lying. For us lawyers, we can sometimes go away with it. We can just talk the reality. But if you're not good at lying, don't try to invent some kind of answers. You'll get lost in your own words. But if you need 2 more seconds, just politely say, could you please rephrase the question? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you properly. Or I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Just try to buy some time. Another good piece of advice that I'm not sure whether I shared it with you, if you are very stressed when you're speaking in public or before any panel or anywhere, just one thing that I always take with me is a pen. I can pass all my stress onto that pen without having, my hands going all over the places. If you have long hair like me, I tie up my hair. I do a ponytail or anything, or a bun, so that I don't start playing with my hair. Hanan gave an excellent tip by avoiding, playing with your fingers or biting them. Just take a pen. It's very discreet. You can just play with it under the table. Nobody will notice.
Thank you so much, girls. I just want to add one advice, what I did last year, because I had a half an hour walk time between home and my workplace. So I recorded my answer on my phone and I was listening instead of music, because you have only 1 month to prepare. So I definitely use all the chance that I have. Even sometimes I dreamed about the answer. That's what I wanted to say for them. So trying to make the into yourself in the process. So next person is Pale. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hello, can you
Go
hear
ahead.
me?
Yes,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yes, good evening, your friend place, ladies. I might appreciate your insightful presentation so far. I'm calling you from Tunisia, but original from Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. Thank you so much for your insightful presentations. But my question is the following. I just want to know, do all the questions that are going to be asked or needs to be answered through the staff methods? Thank you.
Well, as I said, they use a ranking system. So they use the STAR method actually to analyze your answer and to assess your answer and to give you a mark. So just try your best to always use this method. It's not the only one. You know, if you feel stuck and you can't trigger the STAR method right on spot to reply to your answer, it's not the end of the world. Just try to make sure your answer is structured, though, because you need structure when you'll be answering them. Otherwise, you'll get lost and you will not be able to actually get to the point of what you're trying to say while you're answering. But try the STAR method as often as possible, because they will usually use this to assess your answer and to give you your marks.
Yeah, just to jump in on that. It's important for you to have some structure to your answer and also kind of like retain all of the information that you want to relay to the judging panel or the interview panel. So what I personally did and what I would recommend is when you're going through your CV or when you're going through your essays, pick out those examples that you feel best highlights your position or best highlights your power. So and then try to fit that in. Spend some time to actually try to fit that into the STAR method. Think about that exact example. Think about the position you were in at that particular point in time, the difficulties that you thought that you had faced in that time, and the skills that you had used to overcome that. So this is a part of preparation to kind of like try and fit these examples into the STAR method, which, like Dipna has mentioned, obviously helps them because this is one of the scales that they're using to rank us, but also for you to kind of make sure that all of the information that you want to communicate is being communicated.
Well, thank you so much for your answers.
Maya, I think, do we have other questions?
You are muted,
Yes.
Maya.
Sorry, guys.
All right.
Yes, unmute yourself.
Hello.
Thea, go ahead. So sorry.
Can I?
No. Yeah, dear, we can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much. I mean, I appreciate the effort that you guys are applying to mentor us, potential achievers. I really appreciate all the techniques you're using to getting us to understand the tips before our interviews. By the way, my name is Emmanuel Silvanos George. I am from Sierra Leone, West Africa. My question is, in one of the presentations you did, someone said we should have every document beforehand. I'm also wondering if we are supposed to submit our biography before the interview, or there is a time after that, because I suppose I saw April, sometime in April, yet my interview is in March. Thank you.
Regarding the document, usually you have to upload the graduation, the certificate, degree, and transcript, and the reference letter to your application. But sometimes some things happen, you cannot upload it, you can't take this document with you. Regarding the biography, the deadline is in April, so no worries, you don't have to think about it at the moment. All you have to do now is concentrate on the interview, the preparation, and the mock interviews. The biography, myself personally, I did it after I after I did my interview. Like I took some words, then I wrote my biography and uploaded with a picture and my accounts on the social media. And that's it. So no worries about the biography at the moment. What was his first question about the document? Yes, I already answered. You can take the transcript, graduation certificate, and reference letter in case you didn't upload it to your portal.
Yes, absolutely, Anna. And the deadline will be indicated on the Chevening portal. So if your interview takes place before the deadline of the biography to be uploaded, it's fine. You don't have to do it before your interview. Just make sure you don't miss the deadline, though.
Yeah, exactly. So it will not affect anything. Like, don't worry, it will not affect the marks and the scores at the moment.
Thank you so much. I hope that I unmute myself. Did you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. So we have more 15 minutes, guys. So just Please directly ask the question, okay? Thea, go ahead.
Maya, sorry for the interruption. Try please to ask only one question, so we'll give the chance to others to ask their questions. I already I mentioned my account. You can ask me privately, but now try to ask only one question, please.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, in the case on changing of the university, let me say now I have unconditional offer from the university that I didn't mention on my essay.
Okay.
So, and now the other two university, I didn't get a response yet, and the one of my university advised me to apply for a different course. In that case, how am I going to approach that answer? And let me say now, if I just decided like no, the university that I receive an unconditional offer, it's my final. It's going to be the final one. I don't want to wait for the one I mentioned on my essay. Yeah, that was my question.
Okay, I will answer this question since I am the person here. I changed my first choice. So I don't know if
before you answer, Hanan, on the chat also was question regarding the topic. I just add like more, and you can cover the both question. So the one of the applicant wrote on the chat that unfortunately he or she received the 3 rejects in the 3 all of the university she or he has. So how he can give the panels the proof to change at least one university? Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I will go with the rejection case. You during the interview, they're gonna ask you, do you have any question or you want to change one of your chosen courses? They may not ask you. So at the end of the interview, they will say, do you have any questions? So you will take this chance to tell them that you want to change one of your choices. Absolutely. You should never ever say you have 3 rejection. This is not good for you. You would say, for example, I will give you, and this is for the other guy who asked about changing courses. I mentioned that after I applied, like when I go to the interview, I have no conditional or even unconditional offer. I have nothing. I just applied and waiting for a response. So going to the university without having any conditional or unconditional will not affect you. So you will say, for example, I will give you the example of my case. I said after I applied for Chevening in the dental clinic that I'm working in, they transferred me from one section from one clinic to another clinic. So the new clinic, I faced new cases. I realized that I need an experience and knowledge related to this case or this dental cases. So that's why I did more search about UK courses or modules that are available at the UK university. I found, for example, let me say conservative dentistry course at UCL University. I checked the module. I found that I will gain or I will achieve the same career plan and goal that I already mentioned in my essay. Within this course, I also mentioned the name of the module that this new course have that will help me to achieve my career plan and goal. Also, I mentioned UCL partnership with NHS. Why I mention it, maybe they don't know how they are doing the partnership, but this will give them a good impression about me that I know what I need. I have a clear vision and mission. I know what is my plan and how I can achieve it. I mentioned the name of tutors and professors that they are author of very famous dental books and they are tutor at UCL and they will teach me. So this was 3 main causes. I told them that I won't change one of my university, which was the first choice. Is it matter to change the first, second, or third choice? No. What is matter here is to give them a reasonable cause and convince them with data, with like mentioning name of the module, the tutors, partnership, the activities, events that this course or this university will provide it to you. You can mention all this point and convince them that they will change it for you, but never ever mention that you got rejected or something like that. Please, girls, remind me if the other boy, like the guy said something else I didn't cover. I don't know if I covered everything. Okay. He said, I remember, he said he has three options. The three chosen courses of Chevening, they don't respond to him, and he has unconditional offer from one of the university that's not included in the application. Can I change it? Yes, you can change this, but don't mention that this university, they don't respond to my application yet, and I have unconditional from other. You can use that you have unconditional at the last point, but as I mentioned, you can use the other approach that I said, the modules, the activities and events that the university have, name of the tutors, ranking, what this course rank in your field. Like some university, they rank top 1 in specific fields. It's not a must to be top 1 in the UK, but in your field they are top 1. So why they are top 1, what they are doing, this gonna be a reasonable causes for changing universities. I hope it helps and answer your question.
And I think a very interesting question related to what you just said, Hanan, was just raised. It was regarding someone asking whether they will ask about your university replies, whether universities already accepted you yet or not. It will depend on the panel. Some would like to know. Some don't really care whether you already have a positive reply from a university, because when you are going through your interview processes, in certain university you can still apply. So it will really depend on your panel. So some of them are curious, would like to ask you whether you receive any positive reply so far, or are you on the conditional list of potential candidates for the program or not. So it will really depend on the panel, I guess.
Yeah, in case you got rejection, you can simply lie. Simple lies sometimes work. It's fine to say. You can just say, yes, I applied for the university, and at the moment I'm looking for or waiting for a response. Even if you got rejected, don't mention the rejection.
Yeah, so next person is Ernest. Please go ahead, directly question.
Thank you very much. I appreciate how you people are doing. My question is related to also the course choices. My first choice course actually has been altered substantially by the school. It's no longer existing. Now, if I'm presenting during my interview, maybe they ask me about my courses, why I choose them. Is it advisable when I'm discussing that first choice that has been changed by the university? Is it advisable to inform them that that course is no longer existing, it has been changed or whatever, something like that? Or should I maybe keep quiet about it and just discuss the way I wrote it in my essay? Or should I bring to their knowledge the update about the course? What do you advise in that case? Thank
you. Okay, if the course is still available, but they just changed the name of the course, yes, tell the panels that I applied for this university and the name is not the same at the time I applied. They changed the name, and they will just write down a note and write the name of the new courses. But if the course is totally disappeared, like the university canceled the course, and now you have, like, this course is canceled from your three options, you can change your chosen courses, and this is a good reason, like it's reasonable enough to mentioning that the course is canceled, and try to bring the date, the due date, like this canceled just, for example, before 2 weeks before the interview, and this is out of your hand and control, and that's it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries.
Okay, 2 questions, guys, and we will finish our today's session. Okay, Asma, I think you already asked us question. If it's the same Asma, please, you can ask us for next session.
I didn't ask question this next session.
Okay, go ahead then.
Okay, I have two short question. Fast one. The first one is they told us that some people can give like cards and copies of their researches or on many papers for the panels during the interview. I don't know if someone did this and I didn't do the same, that can give him a chance better than me, because I have a research, but I don't know if this can be negative or positive for the panels. The second question is that I want to know how many questions everyone of you prepared for the interview, because I know the main questions and I have a clear vision for what I want, and for every question, the 5 or 6 main questions they will ask definitely, as they mentioned in their website. But what happened, I write it down, I prepared everything, but when I practice every time, I feel like sometimes I for between the UK and why Chevening, and sometimes some of the answers will be overlapping, and sometimes I find myself go answering in a different way that I prepared for. So I just want your advice, what you have done, how many questions you did, and what I should do, so I will guarantee that I'm not going to go out of the track, so when they change the question or when they do something I didn't expect. So thank you so much. I'm sorry for the long questions.
Maz or Dipna, go ahead.
Yes. I am actually not sure about the first question, if you're allowed to hand in copies of your own research. I would not think so, because the interview panel kind of like sets a time limit for each slot. So they're trying to ask the questions within that time frame, and that's it basically. It's not like they're going to be spending any more time trying to interact with the person through research. So I wouldn't think that would be an option. Regarding your second question, I actually don't know exactly how many questions I prepared for. But you always know, like Dipna and Hanan has also mentioned in their presentations, like the questions that will definitely be asked. For example, why Chevening again, or introduce yourself. And it's fine for me to have some sort of overlap between the questions. But just try to make sure that you have some specific concrete points that you'll not compromise on. For example, why the UK and why Chevening might not necessarily need to have the same answer. So just broaden your horizons. Think about what other things that the UK can offer you, and maybe focus your answers on that. And Chevening, maybe try to take into account the different opportunities you might be getting through Chevening, the different people you might be getting to meet, which might be helpful. Just it's fine again to have overlap, but just try to see if there is anything additional that you can bring in. Dipna might have some tips for you as well.
Yes, but before you go to the another one, can you tell me, is it bad to say a joke or something nice in UK? For example, some type of food you want to try, in addition to the good thing that you want to do in the UK, and something special about the culture.
Yes, well, for sure you can. Yes, like it, Maziya, it's fine to mention your hobbies, a place you wanna visit. Like there's many museum here. Like me personally, I said my dream is to go and take a picture with Big Ben. So I started UK with this, so it's completely fine. Why not? Because they don't want people go to the UK just to study. So
no,
there's kind of food, British tea, something like this. Why not? Yeah.
That's the thing though, right? The Chevening is supposed to be a whole experience. You meet new people, you see new things. It's supposed to be this one golden chapter in your life. So why not just do research and tell them that you want to eat something here, which would be fine. But also, again, do not limit your answers just to that. Try and connect it back to, your professional career and your academics as well.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, for sure. They want to know about you as an individual. So it's not only about the studies, your career, your professional aspirations, about you as a human being. What are your hobbies? What you can do? How you can network? How easily you're gonna blend in the British, culture. So one of the questions that they asked me was, what are the main things that you're going to do if you get to London? So I told them that on top of going to university and study, I will be enjoying, the London life, getting to live the experiences that a big capital city can offer, like having the chance to go see an opera or a ballet at the Royal Opera House, and to try different cuisines. I'm a foodie person. I told them I'm a foodie person. I
Yes,
love
I
it.
know. But I didn't eat anything until now.
You didn't join the group, so I launched a group, a
No.
gourmet club. You should join. So here, so this is a good thing actually. In order to network and to mingle and to meet other Shivners,
Yep.
I launched a gourmet club. Every time we go to different restaurants in London and we discover each other's cuisine, it's a good way to connect with other people. So that's something amazing. Yesterday, I organized with the Chevening Secretariat a private tour at the Royal Opera House because I love operas and ballet, and the Chevening Secretariat funded the full tour for $60. So we went to visit it. So it's not only about your studies, it's about the culture and how you're going to blend it, and all what you're going to make out of it, and all the different things you can experience and discover that you can only do in the UK and not anywhere else in the world.
Well,
Dipna,
Scotland
I
is
think
not too
waiting
bad either.
picture.
Sorry?
I just want to add an important point. Since the beginning, we are mentioning what you will do in the UK, how will you get networking. There is just when Dipna mentioned, I remembered during the interview, I said, because like I am Kurdish from Kurdistan region and we are minorities, so I want people from the UK know who I am, where I came from. I said in 21st of March, it is Nowruz, like it is our traditional Kurdish day. So I bring with me my traditional clothes, and I said, hopefully I can do that with the deadline that I have. I will like do an event and invite my friends to know more about my culture and stuff, where I came from. So this is additional point. Like you can take from the UK and you can add to it. You can take from the community and add to it. This is, I believe, gonna be a positive point for you as well.
Thank you so much. Can you please write down the social media account for everyone, if you please? So if we have more questions.
It's in one of the slides. Maya, you can go
I'm
to
sorry,
my
I didn't
slides.
attend at the beginning.
I
Can you
will
just
upload it, the
improve that?
slides and materials soon, guys, when we finish all the session. And
Thank you.
Dipna, for you, I'm waiting the picture still, so you can use the chance to screen me and put me in your
Why
picture,
don't we do
guys.
this? Why don't I organize a private tour with you to London next time? Okay?
Guys,
and all the
if you
Shivners
are
that
studying outside of London, unfortunately, there is not any event for you. So Dipna promised me to cut my face and put me in the picture that they took.
But that's the thing though, right? That's the beauty of UK. Like it's different. It's a whole different life in London. It's a whole different life for us Glaswegians in Scotland and Edinburgh. So yeah, so much to explore, so much.
Absolutely. And do make sure you consider this aspect when you are, well, it's too late now because you already chose your university, but you can still try to adjust your choices. But do make sure that you understand like the vibes and the way of life you'll be having when you'll be selected, because living the London life is completely different than living the Cardiff life, I would say, because these are totally different vibes. So according and depending on the country in which you're studying, you can do more or less similar things or different things. So this is another parameter that you have to take into account. But if you study in a city which is not too far to another city in which you would like to attend an event, Chevening will be organizing several events. You'll have like the chance to go and visit Glasgow, Cardiff, Edinburgh. You'll have the chance to go and visit the Warner Bros. Studios of Harry Potter. Chevening is organizing so many events, guys. It's a great, great opportunity. So you'll get the chance to visit different cities and to participate in amazing things.
So thank you so much, guys, for your time, for your volunteering task, because I'm very appreciated that we are going to be a volunteer, because it's like part of Chevening scholarship, because Chevening scholarship is not only like fully founded scholarship, it's more than this. So I think you already guys see that, because this is our first session and we will have more 3 sessions. So for us, volunteering means a lot. Thank you so much. I don't know if you see still my slide, guys, but
yeah, we can.
I want
No,
to.
no.
I want to say our next session is Friday, 3rd of March, and we are waiting for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Good
Thank
luck.
you so
got
much.
this.
And
Yeah,
please,
good
the
luck.
speakers, stay for me.
We will.
Maya, can you please put the social media accounts